From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrich with Weather Weeklies.
And good Saturday afternoon, January 16th, another edition of Weather Weeklies. I normally do this on Sunday, so if you are looking for the video on Sunday, this is the correct video. I had some personal things to attend to here on Sunday, so we will be doing this a day early. So this is this week's edition of Weather Weeklies, and I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm going to give it to you straight in this video. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to, blow smoke up your rear end. I'm going to give it to you exactly straight, exactly how I feel. This is a weekly editorial blog, so this is my opinion, does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole. So I know we have difference of opinions on our own staff of how we think it's going to turn out, but none of us really have 100% confidence in anything. So we're going to start off with the long-range forecast table here. This is just released yesterday, as a matter of fact, last night. We're talking. First thing that was on this list was this storm offshore that we were watching here. This is the MLK storm. We can nix that. This is not happening. This is going to stay off the coast and not affect our region. It is coming close enough, though. We'll have to watch for some snow showers, maybe some period of light snow along the immediate shore points. But for the majority of area, for a big storm, that is off the table. The next one we're going to be focusing on is this one right here, the 21st to 23rd. This is next weekend. Very strong signals coming in today from the GFS and Canadian models, and also their ensembles. So we're going to focus on this period next. It's a very fluid situation with a lot of things changing. I know some big snow maps came in today here with both the GFS and Canadian runs, but I just have to tell you to err on the side of the caution here because there's a lot of moving pieces with that. We'll get into that in the video a little bit. Then we have another signal here at the end of the month. This one is going to be predicated on how much cold air is involved, how much we still have on there. There's differences between the European model, suggesting that we're going to MJO phase 4, 5, and 6, which are not good for cold and snow. Whereas the GFS is suggesting we're going to have a stratospheric warming event that's going to keep this a transient shot, and that's going to be back to cold and high latitude blocking and snowing for much of February, late January into February. So this remains to be seen. Once you get past this point here, I'm not going to go, again, I'm giving it to you straight. Although we keep other threats beyond this point, anything here down, forget it. Just look at, we'll have to wait and see what happens. We're going to see in the next couple days how this evolves, but this might be a warmer period. We don't know that yet. We actually include that in our long-range outlook. We do have the temperature below average through the 23rd. Do still agree with that. After that, we go above average here, 24th to 28th. Possibility that lasts longer. We're not completely sold that it just stops on the 28th here, but we will see. Of course, difference of opinion in the long range with that. Near to slightly below average temperatures for the period after that is what we have right now. So that's, of course, subject to change once you get past this point here of the 28th. So we're going to look at a couple things in this video, and again, I'm going to show you what we're looking at right now. We'll start off with the Madden-Julian Oscillation. Right now we have dateline forcing, which is phase 1, phase 2. This is a good phase for cold and snow. Of course, the polar vortex is actually going to be overwhelming to the point where it's going to make our Martin Luther King storm head out to sea and stay southeast the area, except for, again, we're watching coastal areas for that, for a any minor shifts could give them some snow. But after this, it has it generally going into the circle of death. After that, there's a difference of opinion depending on what model you're looking at. Circle of death just means if it goes in this area here, each one of these phases represents something. So in just starting over here, these are cold. This is a cool phase in phase 7. This is cold in 8, cold in 1, cold in 2, cold in 3. But then these are all warm phases, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if it's in the circle of death, it means the Madden-Julian Oscillation, which is a measure of the convection along the equator in relation to the international dateline. Each one of these octants represents a different positioning of that greatest convection along the equator in the Pacific. So it actually goes all the way back to the Indian Ocean. But this is a representation of what these phases mean. If it's in the circle of death, it means that the Madden-Julian Oscillation has no effect on the pattern. So it's not cold, it's not warm, we don't know. It's going to depend on other factors to determine whether it's looking like this or we're looking like this and we're cold. So that's what that circle of death means. All right, and everything pretty much has to go to the circle of death. It's just after this point that there's some disagreement. Euro Weeklies show a blowtorch, and I got this cute little photo here for that from Home Alone here. But this goes into the circle of death, and then it comes out into phase 4, 5, 6. That is bad. These, again, if you want snow and cold, these are your warm phases. This is the European weeklies, monthlies. They've been really honing in on the late period of the month into the first part of February being a very warm period. Again, we're siding against that because we have a lot other credible models that are showing different. But I'll tell you what, the MJO European model has figured that out, has been pretty spot on with that. Now, the image I showed you over here, this is the European ensembles. Just has it going to in the circle of death, does not have it going to 4, 5, and 6. So I will say, when you're getting to the weekly, Euro weeklies, Euro monthlies, and it's showing this, take that with a grain of salt. We don't know that for sure yet. It could actually cycle back into 8.1, like some of the other models and some other, very reliable models are showing. Here's the MLK storm we were talking about. This is a swing and a miss off the coast here. This is the polar vortex is coming in here, and it's moving to the southeast. This is actually allowing this to stay squandered to the southeast here, not make the turn up the coast, because it's running into that. So it can't make the turn up the coast. So instead, it's going out to sea this way. Now, I know a lot of you watch this video religiously, and if you looked at the video from last week that we did, we were talking about two scenarios: snow or out to sea. Many people, and I mean a lot, confused my words with that. They thought we were talking about the Friday night into Saturday deal that cut to the west, and we were getting a lot of people saying some really nasty things about that. Reading comprehension and listening comprehension are a very big thing. You have to listen and read to what I say. If it comes up to the west here, like this system did on Friday night, it brings the warm air in, so it didn't matter there was a coastal system out here that redeveloped. It brought in a lot of warm air ahead of it, so you couldn't get any snow. Now, what the system I was talking about with either cold or nothing is this system right here on Monday, okay? And the one behind it. The one behind it is the same thing. This is the one for next weekend that we'll be watching. Matter of fact, I'll get into that one now. So that one's a miss. Again, we're watching the coastal areas for possible light snow, and we will have snow showers this weekend. We had to have some upper air energy going in here. Another little system moving off to the north is going to bring some snow showers here, probably Sunday night, looks like, for most areas. Not going to amount to much, but still some snow showers. Here's a look at next weekend, and this is what everybody's getting excited for. Again, this is a very fluid situation. I don't want everybody to get overly excited about this. This is a pretty good setup for an overrunning event. And what the GFS does today is it brings a system in here, closes it off over and phases it over Kentucky, and brings it out here like this, and brings it right along the coast out like this. So this is a very good setup for at very least an interior snowstorm, meaning northwest of I-95. Verbatim to the GFS today, that's what it showed. It was a very good system. You can see that at 500 millibars where that closes off, and you have that system here right along the coast here. So again, very good setup. But we are still a week away from this. Going to the next, let's go next thing. Here's the the GFS ensembles. Again, very good signal for precipitation to be up in the area here, and then the 0 Celsius lines all the way down here. So you're definitely cold enough. This will be snow. My only concern is that it's either going to be, we have a block in place. There's a block in place up here, up in the high latitudes here. West of Greenland. This is a west-based NAO. So my only concern is that it winds up pushing this thing further south. And if it moves too far south, you have something like the European model shows, where you have a low here instead of up here near the Norfolk, Virginia. It's a big difference. If it's down here, it might be too far south, and then you get just southeastern areas clipped by it, and that's it. So we'll have to watch this and see how this evolves over the next couple of days. A lot of different situations with this, but then the Canadian also did something very similar to the GFS, almost identical actually, where it closes off and it has the low come into the Delmarva, and you have a big interior snowstorm. Actually, one good thing about this next weekend is that you have blocking in place, so the fast jet that's been really killing us this winter, and I'll get into that in a second here too. Fast jet is allowed to slow down, so this is a long duration overrunning event if it were to hit and it were to occur. Again, placement along the coast is going to be ideal. Right now the Canadian shows a big hit here for much of our interior location. So right now we'll go with that idea that that's the case. But again, your ensembles are further southeast with it. Kind of takes it more across the south instead of over Kentucky and out this way, like the GFS and Canadian did today. And so that's going to allow this system to develop a little bit further south. And that's a big difference here when you're talking about a snowstorm. But you do have a lot of members up here. See those little L's here? A lot of members are up further, closer to the GFS and Canadian solution. So again, a lot of time to play with this. It might be a European ensemble bias in play here. Who knows? But I do like this chance next weekend just because when you have some abrupt changes in the teleconnections. Now, this is your Arctic Oscillation is your cold air source. It's been relatively cold, but you see it starting to rise. Once it starts to rise and you get that transition from neutral to positive right in here, same thing here with the North Atlantic Oscillation. We have blocking in place now, but as it starts to rise up toward neutral up in this area, look what the time frame is, right where our storm is. Okay, so this is a good time frame here to watch. A lot of times when we're in transition like this, you can get some big snowstorms. So that's what we're looking for. And you know, again, it's going to be with the blocking in place here. I think it's going to be hard for it to cut, but it's not saying it can't. I'm not getting into the percentages, so please don't ask me. I know the percentages were perceived as from what we said 10% and wound up being a 10% chance coming true. So that's been burning us a little bit publicly, so we just want to stay away from the percentages and just say that the best idea is for this thing either to hit or miss to the southeast with this next one as well. So we'll follow that, but you know, we got a lot of time here to look at this. And on the week yet, again, today's forecasts are very aggressive. And then we get to that period afterwards, toward the end of the month. It's unknown whether there's going to be a transient shot here. Here is the GFS showing that warm up here, 24th to 28th time frame. It's uncertain whether this sticks around or it's in and out. If it could be a 4 to 5 day warm up where you go to above normal, kind of like a transitional type thing where you get into the above normal temperatures and the ridge for 4 or 5 days, and then it cools down again, or does it stay in for a prolonged period like the European model suggests? I think that it's going to, right now we're going to size 60-40, that it does end up transient and it's in and out. This warm is in and out. We get back to, like we have on the table here, we get back to this period here, the 29th onward, that we go to near to slightly below average. But again, that's a very fluid situation, so we're in, it's constantly changing. So once you get past this point here, of this storm here, and even that's in question here with the track of that storm, but if you get past that period here, it's going to be very difficult to sit here and say with a straight face that I know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, we have a good idea, but to know what's exactly going to happen is and say with that it's definitely going to be this way is really taking a chance here. Now here's El Nino. We talked about El Nino being strong. It is still a centralized El Nino. It's not east base. East base would be greatest warming over in this area. Greatest warming is still here in the west central and central areas. Now we've argued that because it was over in this area here, it would be better for us, more closer to dateline force. It would be better for us for cold and snow, and it would not be like 1997, 1998. Well, we got the cold shots. We did have the cold shots because it's more, and this is the reason why. It's because it's more west central based rather than east based. In 1997, 1998, you had a blowtorch the entire winter. Okay, we are getting cold shots, and that's because you have the dateline forcing, but we're not having the cold and snow make they're either cutting or they're heading off to the southeast, and there's a reason for that. Okay, and you can thank El Nino for that. It's a progressive pattern, progressive southern jet. When you have those warm waters out here, all these warm waters that are sitting out here, that's going to amplify the southern jet and make it very, very fast. Okay, very fast southern jet, and that's been our problem. The faster this is, the less chance for amplification you get, and the less chance you have for phasing. And if it does end up phasing, northern stream's digging in here and phases it too early, you get a system that's going to cut to our west, and that's going to be warm, and we've had that over the past couple of weeks. Or you get a situation like you have with the MLK storm, where this is still screaming like this, and the northern stream can't catch up to it fast enough, so it just heads out to sea like this. Okay, so there's one or two situations here with the southern jet. It's way too fast. Now, how do you get that to slow down? Two things. One, you need El Nino to decline. It is declining. It is declining at a very rapid rate. So that should slow this down a little bit. And if you look at the models for next weekend, we do have the progressive pattern slow down considerably. That's why we have that long duration potential overrunning event that could bring some snow. Okay, the other thing we're looking at when you're talking about, this is part 2, is you need high latitude blocking. Okay, if you have high latitude blocking, it means you have the warming over Greenland. Basically you want it on the western side, the North American side of Greenland. It would be ideal, as opposed to out here. Okay, because that's going to allow the Arctic air to bleed down here. And then it also, by setting that block, it will slow the southern jet down a little bit. So even though we have El Nino sitting out here in the Pacific, and that jet screaming across the southeast here, if it's running into a block, it makes it amplify and slow down. So we need that high latitude blocking in order for that to happen. We've had some blocking, but the southern jet was overwhelming it for a while there, because this wasn't in an ideal position. And now we have, how do we get this to be an ideal position? You need a sudden stratospheric warming event. I call this the do or die sudden stratospheric warming signal that is in the long range. Here's what we're looking at right now. This is the GFS ensembles. Here's where the GFS ensemble says we're going to be at in 10 days. They have a big warming episode here that will help displace this PV. If this comes to fruition, we will be set up for high latitude blocking as we get into late January and the month of February, maybe even to March. Because when you get this displaced, if you get this to split or displace, you're set up for some high latitude blocking. With the declining El Nino, the southern jet will not be quite as fast. So El Nino's out here, the southern jet is coming across really fast. It will not be as fast, and you combine that with the blocking, and then you get your big East Coast storms. That's why we've been saying all along, we think February will be huge. But this do or die. And I told you I was going to give you two straight in this video, and I wasn't kidding. This sudden stratospheric warming event is projected to be by the GFS at the end of this month here, about well, say about 10 days from now. If this does not occur, we're in trouble in February. I'll tell you that right now. We're in trouble, and we might be writing a mea culpa, saying, "Hey, this didn't work out the way we wanted to, and we're going to need to cut down totals considerably." Now, yes, we still have this system here. Even whether this happens or not, this system we're looking at next weekend, this system comes before that. So if this works out, you can get some decent snow out of it. That's before the sudden stratospheric warming event. You're going to need, it's either this or we go warm for the second half of this little warm period that we talked about in the long-range table. If it doesn't just cut off at the 28th, this goes into maybe even the first or second week of February. Okay? If we don't get that sudden stratospheric warming event. So this plays a huge, huge role, because then if this doesn't occur, you're relying the rest of the winter on timing and timing things perfectly, like we're doing for this one next week. They can hit, but if you have that high latitude blocking in place, like we talked about, and that's a result of the sudden stratospheric warming, and it slows the pattern down from El Nino slowing down a little bit or declining a little bit, the combination of the two with the blocking could lead to some big storms in February. So again, I'm not blowing smoke up your rear end. I'm just telling you the way it is. We have a chance to be very, very big in February. We have a chance to not be. Okay? 1958, we had a sudden stratospheric warming event very similar to this at the end of the month, and it set up February, March quite nicely. 1958, in one of our locations, Allentown, Pennsylvania, we said this before, 12 inches of snow by January 31st was all they had total for the winter. The rest of the winter was very wild. Over 50 inches of snow fell between February and the first half of March, and the season total ended 63.6 inches. So it can happen. That was a result of the sudden stratospheric warming at the end of January 1958. It did come to fruition, like the GFS is suggesting it will. Again, this is a model projection. The European model does not agree with this. European Weeklies does not agree with this. So we're kind of hoping, if you're a snow lover, and hoping for our winter forecast anyway, because it's really in jeopardy. And we said that in the long range, we put a little blurb in there. If this doesn't work out, we're in trouble. And I'm just calling it straight. We do have something new to talk about here, and that is our EPAWA custom models. This is actually, we partner with Long Wave Weather, and we have some EPAWA specific coverage area models that we have for this region. So you can use our models program. This is absolutely free. You just go up to the top of the page here in the navigation bar, and you'll see a thing that says weather models here. You click on that, and it'll take you to a page where it has all the models that we have. We have enough to launch right now. We are adding some more, like the 4 kilometer NAM, HRRR, several other models. We're also going to get into some precipitation type maps and things like that. But here's an example of some of the models we have for just our region. You can look at these nationally or locally for our coverage area and have the EPAWA logo on our local maps. Here is today's an example of today's snowfall from the Canadian model that showed today. Showed these enormous. So again, the fluid situation. Don't latch on to these amounts here, but very high snowfall amounts here. CMC Ensemble did something similar with the high snow amounts here, so this is pretty good for an ensemble actually. But this is an example of what the models look like. These are our snow maps that are in there. We have everything, every model, every one of these models that I use in this video here are the EPAWA models. This is a look at the synoptic 4 panels on the Canadian and the GFS. This all comes from that page as well. Again, this is partnered with Long Wave Weather Analytics, which is our new models partner, but we do have our own specific model guidance that we have for this area, and you can check that out under the weather models in the navigation bar. Again, that's absolutely free. Take a look at that. Also, our EPAWA forum will have up-to-date information on the long range and the daily model analysis. As for our premium members, if you want to become a member of that or sign up for text alerts for the rest of the winter, you can do so with the My Pocket Meteorologist image below. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich. That is this edition of Weather Weeklies for January 16th, 2016. Again, if you're a big snow lover and you're looking for cold and snow this winter, you're going to have to I would say just pray that the sort of stratospheric warming event works out. Otherwise, you're doing really thread the needle stuff, and we might be doing this for the rest of winter here. You know, I hope it's not. We're not there yet. We're not playing the taps yet, but man, it's going to be really close. Really close. Need sudden stratospheric warming event to work out at the end of this month. We'll be set up for February and at least the first half of March with a colder and snowier pattern with high latitude blocking. Boy, this is annoying. Anyway, that's this edition of Weather Weeklies. We'll see you again next week. Take care.